So we are using GoToWebinar, and many of you have sat in on webinars with us before. We take questions through the questions bar. So if you have a question at any time, please feel free to type it in. We take questions we'll take questions at breaks between the sections, and then again at the end of the webinar. So I think we'll have time to take a lot of questions today, so feel free to enter any that you have. Next slide. So California Multifamily New Homes is, oh, did we skip a slide? Great. California Multifamily New Homes program is, we'll be talking a little bit more about eligibility later, but it's a program run in Pacific Gas and Electric territory. There is a similar program in Southern California for new construction multifamily projects in other utility territories. So if you have questions about those, you can get in touch with us. We'll have contact information at the end of this presentation. So who are we? So myself and my two colleagues who are presenting today, we are with TRC Energy Services. So this is Shannon Todd speaking, and then we'll have two other presenters that I'll introduce to you shortly. And we implement the California Multifamily New Homes program on behalf of Pacific Gas and Electric. So we're the ones that you're talking to when you have a project that you're interested in enrolling, and then also we'll do a plan review of your project if we think that it's a good fit, and then we'll be chatting with you as your project moves through the program. So we're your main contact if you have a multifamily new construction project. We run this program, and we also run several other programs. The California Advanced Homes Program, which is the single-family equivalent. So I think we're familiar with you guys and your work, and I think a lot of you have worked with us before too. Next slide. All right. And just a little note about our next training. So we've already scheduled this one. It's going to be on April 23rd. And we're doing a little kind of program orientation on how several other programs can be valuable to multifamily new construction projects. So we've got 4 great presenters that'll be sharing about their programs. And if you would like to register for that presentation, you can go onto our website. We have a trainings page, and you can register there. Next slide. Great, so our agenda today. And I should start out by saying we are recording this webinar, so I'll be sharing it with you all via email after the webinar is done. So you'll have access to that. We'll be posting it on our YouTube channel. So our speakers today, so Scott Kessler is the program manager for California Multifamily New Homes. He'll be doing a program overview. I'll be talking about the application process for the program, and it's a little bit new this year. This is one of the updates in 2015, and I think it's going to make it a lot more straightforward for you to apply. So that'll be interesting. And then lastly, our new HERS coordinator, Megan Daw, who also does plan review. She'll be sharing about the plan review and HERS process. We also have a few updates to the HERS process. So we'll be sharing about that. So I think next slide I'll hand it over to Scott, who's going to be doing the program overview for us.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Shannon. So my name is Scott Kessler, and I manage the California Multifamily New Homes program. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about what's the reason for the program and where the public benefit programs come from, as well as how do you determine eligibility to enroll, and then what are the potential incentives available for projects that enroll with CMFNH. And so these energy efficiency programs, there's a number of programs administered by the investor-owned utilities as well as the municipal-owned utilities. And within PG&E territory, there are many other programs other than just CMFNH. These energy efficiency programs are intended to spur energy efficient design and construction, and this happens in a number of ways, but the two main ways in which administrators like TRC move the process along is through incentives, financial incentives, and through design and assistance. There are really two main goals that the energy efficiency programs have been pushing towards over the past 5 years and for the next 5 years. The first interim goal was by 2015. The aim was for 90% of new homes to be at least 20% better than the 2008 code. And previously, the CMFNH program incentivized people based off of 2008 code. Now 2013 code is in place, and that is approximately about 20% better than the 2008 code. So anyone who's just complying with code is meeting our old goals, and as you'll see later on in my presentation, our new goals are intended to continually be pushing people further along. The second goal is by 2020 for 100% of new residential construction in the state to reach zero net energy. Obviously, this is a very ambitious goal, and it is the long-term plan for this program. So as I just mentioned, we were improving upon what was our old goal of 20% better than 2008. One of our new goals will be trying to achieve zero net energy. So there's obviously going to have to be some program changes to get there, but that is the long-term goal and sort of what we are aiming for when we set minimum criteria here for entry into the program. And then one last note is that the program is funded under the auspices of the California Public Utility Commission. This funding is then provided to the utilities, and then they contract with administrators like ourselves. So as a result, incentive levels and program requirements may be revised during the program cycle if we were to get a revised order from them on how these funding can be dispersed. Next slide, please. So just a brief description of the California Multifamily New Homes Program. As I mentioned, it's really aimed at multifamily new construction, and it's a public service program that offers a few services to customers. Those cash incentives and energy design assistance I mentioned. But we also offer project roundtables where we can come sit down with the entire team, get them all on the same page about where they need to be to qualify for the program, as well as to achieve the desired level of incentive. We also do educational opportunities. Both we will come to individual businesses and talk to them about potential design, and do maybe broader education efforts similar to this one or to the webinar we're having later in April to discuss various programs. And then lastly, we also will facilitate program coordination. And so that is both among us and other programs, such as the New Solar Homes Partnership, or between us and other utilities. So if you are perhaps a project in Sacramento and you get your electric service from the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, but you get gas service from Pacific Gas and Electric, we will coordinate with them to make sure that you only have to enroll into one program, and that the plan review process you go through is good for both programs. Similarly, sometimes we see projects that in the southern part of the state get electric service from Pacific Gas and Electric, but get gas service from SoCal Gas. And in those situations, we would also assist you with enrolling in that as well. So in order to qualify for the program, you must be a multifamily building in the PG&E service territory. We have a little map provided over there on the right, but as you can see, there's definitely some areas where there are gaps, both for very small municipal utilities as well as larger gaps that you can see again in the Sacramento area that you might for other utilities in Northern California. In order a multifamily building, we define as being 3 or more attached units. If you are fewer units than that, you're more than welcome to enroll in the California Advanced Homes Program, which is intended for smaller single-family and dual-unit residencies. It must be new construction, so either that can be from the ground up or it can be a very significant retrofit. PG&E also provides the multifamily upgrade program, so if it's a retrofit that does not qualify as new construction, there are still incentives available to you. All projects enrolling in the California Multifamily New Homes Program must exceed 2013 Title 24 standards by at least 15%. Previously, we had to exceed 2008 Title 24 by at least 20%. And the reason this has changed is just due to the increasingly stringent code. We realize that savings are becoming more and more difficult. So we want to, be making sure that what we're asking for is not too high a bar, but it's high enough so that, we are achieving the energy savings goals necessary to reach the ZNE 2020 goal we discussed earlier. All projects that enroll this year must complete construction verification by December 31st, 2018. Generally, it's about a 3-year window from the date of enrollment, and there is the possibility for an extension if need be, but we very strongly encourage projects to complete within that 3-year period if possible. Some examples of building types we've covered in the past: apartments, condos, townhomes. We are okay with affordable or market rate or any other type of housing, and definitely are open to discussing with you your project if you're not entirely sure if it fits within these categories here. And now just to touch briefly on some of the incentives offered. So we offer 2 different types of incentives. One is for low-rise buildings, which is defined as 1 to 3 stories, and then the second is for high-rise, which is 4 or more stories. So I'll start with high-rise probably just because it's not the chart below. It's a little bit easier just to say. For any projects that are achieving 15% greater than Title 24 2013, it's $150 a unit performance incentive. And for any project that is greater than 30% above 2013 Title 24, it's $400 per unit. So there's a big incentive there to aim higher on high-rise if you're achieving somewhere in the 20% area. We really like to talk to you and get you up to that $400 per unit. For low-rise incentive, it's based off of what's known as the HERS scale, the Home Energy Rating Scale, and it's a score. It's more or less a 1 to 100 score, though sometimes the scale will go above 100, indicating how well the home performs compared to a baseline. In order to qualify for California Multi-County New Homes Program, any low-rise project must either receive a CMFNH score, that HERS score, of 84 or below, or they must meet 15% better than 2013 standards. Anyone who meets just that baseline criteria gets $75 per unit. And then for each additional HERS point, the project would get $25 per unit. So if you were achieving a HERS score of 82, for example, you would get that $75 base incentive, plus you would get 2 $25 credits, so you would get $125 per unit. At a score of 75, the dollar per point ratchets up to $50. So again, we're trying to include some incentive here for people to aim higher, have better achieving projects. So you'll see that there where those incentives increase. For both low-rise and high-rise projects, the energy consultant is paid a $50 incentive. That's paid in 2 installments. The first wave is a $15 upon project enrollment, and then the energy consultant receives $35 upon project completion. The HERS rater also receives an incentive of $60 per unit. This is issued to the developer, and the HERS rater incentive is paid entirely upon project completion. Incentives cannot be received twice for any measure. So if you are applying to any other energy efficiency program and have the same project and same fuel source, you may be at risk of receiving 2 incentives for that measure, which would not be permitted under the program. However, incentives from other service providers, such as if you had electric service from SMUD and were getting incentives from them, but gas incentives were received from PG&E, that would be okay with the program. If you have a project that you're looking at, definitely would encourage you to send it to myself or Shannon, and we can give you a more, tailored estimate as to what incentive you might be looking at. So I think actually that's probably it from my slide, and I will open up now to questions anyone who has on the program overview, whether the description, the eligibility, or the incentives.
Great, thanks, Scott. So we have a couple questions. One is about the CMFNH score, how it compares with the HERS score. I know it's a little bit different, and we've given presentations on the CMFNH score in the past. CMFNH score is similar to the way that we calculate the CAP score for single family if you've participated in CAP before. So if you have specific questions about how the score works, we gave a whole presentation about it last year, so I can share the link to that with you. And if you're wondering, how do you find out about your score? So the energy modeling software will be calculating that for you, so you'll be able to determine that way. And the 15% score, or the 15% is roughly synonymous with a score of 84, so the entry score point, but it could vary quite a bit depending on your climate zone. Okay, so that's the question about the score. We have a question about stories. So rise type, high rise or low rise. Do stories include parking or apartment floors only? So good question. I can take that one. So it's habitable stories, habitable floors. So floors with conditioned space. So this could include a ground story of the building, but it wouldn't include a parking space. And if you have a ground floor with retail space, you can just let us know. We'll let you know how to proceed from there. Okay. All right, I'll give this question to you, Scott. So can you meet the 15% and get $75 per unit without meeting the score of 84?
Yes. So the reason that's included is because, there are some projects that have trouble getting to a score of 84 due to their climate zone, so we wanted to make the program eligible to them. If you are enrolling with a CMFNH score above 84, but your project is 15% better than 2013 standard, the project would receive $75 per unit for the performance incentive. And it would also, of course, still be eligible for the energy consultant and HERS incentives as well.
Yes, so we had a few projects that participated last year. So this is a new requirement in 2015. And we had a few projects that participated last year that didn't meet the 84, but that did meet 15%. So if you fall in that boat, we'll be following up with you shortly to talk about participation this year. Okay. I think that's the last question. Just as a reminder, we will be posting this presentation to our YouTube channel, and I'll be sharing a link with everybody after the presentation, probably tomorrow or in the next couple days. We'll also be posting a PDF of the slide deck online. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is Shannon again, and I'll be talking about the application process. So we've already received a number of interest forms since we launched. Was that last week or the week before? So I'll be talking about how you can tell us about your projects. So that's the interest form. And then the next step, which is for you to start collecting the items of your enrollment package. So I'll be talking about what those documents are. And then how to submit them. So previously we did all of our application submittals via email, and now we actually have an online portal, which is new this year, so I'll be sharing with you about how that works. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the interest form. We did have interest forms last year, so you can go onto our website, www.cmfnh.com. I'll share a link to that as well. There's a button for the interest form. So this asks questions like, who's the primary contact? So the primary contact could be if you are an energy consultant filling out an interest form on behalf of a developer, or I guess same question, same issue if you're an architect filling out for a developer and you are managing the process of the program for a developer, then you are the primary contact and we'll be following up with you. We ask questions like number of units. We want to know about your schedule in terms of permitting and design development. That lets us know when your project would be eligible to enroll. So prior to enrollment, we are available to provide design assistance, but if you are interested in incentives for CMFNH, I'll be talking a little bit about what is that, what do you need to be able to apply for incentives. So once you submit an interest form, I myself or one of my colleagues will follow up with you to discuss your timeline and also what your performance targets are. So if you think you'll be meeting 15% above 2013 standards, that'll be one question that I'll want to know. And then in terms of design, one of the pieces, as you see here, for the enrollment package is an energy model. So we know that's one of the things that usually comes later in the design process. So we'll ask when do you expect your 50% construction plan set, and when do you expect to have an energy model? So we're happy to inform some design decisions kind of in complement with your energy consultant as you're developing the model, but in order to be eligible for incentives, you have to submit an energy model along with your application. So, so after we review your interest form and get in touch with you to talk about your project, myself or one of our outreach folks will give you a list of items, so that's this list that we'll ask you to collect prior to filling out an application. So we'll want you to collect your energy model. So that's a file that is either an energy profile or a CBEC res or CBEC com file. So your energy consultant knows all about those. And then also the CF1R, which is a PDF output from the model, and that tells you what your incentive is estimated to be based on the model that the consultant develops. And in addition to the model, we'll ask for an architectural plan set. So we ask for both of these items so that we can review the model and compare it to the architectural plan set and make sure that they match, because the model is what determines the incentive. So we want to make sure that what is modeled is actually what you expect to install. So we also request a PG&E proof of service. The typical thing that we see is a will serve letter that you can contact your PG&E account rep, and they're used to writing these all the time. So they can draft this letter for you that says this project is eligible to receive service from PG&E. So you don't necessarily have to have established an account yet, but you have to be eligible to receive PG&E service. And we'll ask that you specify whether it's gas or electric or both. Okay. And then lastly, the enrollment package will ask that you collect W-9s for the developer and energy consultant, and checks pending PG&E approval. We will issue them to the address on the W-9, so just make sure that that's the place that you want the check to go to. Okay, next slide. All right, so the application is new. So previously we had a PDF application, which you could either print out and sign or sign electronically. Now it is a website. So once we discuss your interest form, if we think that it's good for you to move forward and we think your performance goals will be a good fit for the program, we will send you a link to this application. And so the application is a form. It's not much longer than what you see on this slide, and there's a little survey component too. So you fill out the form, you'll get an email saying thanks for filling out this form, and then you'll be directed to a page where you can upload the items of your enrollment package. So there's little fields for each piece. So if you have multiple, say, plan sets, like a huge bunch of files, we'll just ask that you zip all of those together so that it's just one upload of the plans, so you can submit it that way. Once you've uploaded all of your enrollment package items, you will be directed to print out the form. So you'll get a link to the this form that you see right now on the right side of the page. You can either print it, so there's kind of my last note on this slide, you can print it electronically. So you click print, you select PDF instead of selecting a printer, and then you can sign it electronically. Or just normal, you just print it and sign it by hand and then scan it. So that's the application process. So that's really, I mean, it's everything that you need to submit prior to plan review. So I think that our goal is that it'll be really clear that we've received what you've submitted and that you have submitted everything. I think it's going to be really nice moving forward. Next slide. Okay. So application review, we'll take a look at your enrollment package items. And once we confirm that we see everything, and upon first glance at the CF1R, the energy model output, once we confirm, yes, it looks like this project is going to qualify, we'll put it into a full plan review. So I think I'll hand it over to Megan at this. Actually, we'll pause for a few questions, and then I'll hand it over to Megan to tell us more about what that plan review process is like. So let's see, feel free to enter questions. If I know this application process is new, and I imagine the first couple folks that use it will just walk through it together. So if you're not totally sure how to proceed, just let me know. And my email's at the end of this presentation, so you can get in touch. Let's see. Okay, I'm just reading the questions right now. All right. So in terms of login, so logging into the online application, will login information need to be created for the upload portion? So we have a way set up where if you're filling out an application on behalf of a developer, there's a little box for you to click, and it will ask you to create an account. And an account is just like, you know, your username and your password. It's nothing really. Probably your company name too. I can't remember right now, but it's nothing. It's not a huge process, and we set it up that way so that if you are filling out several applications, that way you can just log in with your account like a portal, and you'll be able to see all of the open applications that you have. So a developer doesn't necessarily need to create an account if they're just gonna be uploading one project. But if you expect to upload several projects, then we will encourage you to create an account. So if you have questions about that when you get to it, I'm happy to chat about that after this presentation. Okay, next slide, or not, sorry, next slide, next question. So typically the energy consultant or rater, so if a rater or energy consultant is supporting the developer in program participation, the rater or consultant will fill out as much of the application as possible and have the builder sign it. Will we be able to save the application so the builder can sign it off later? Yes. So the answer is yes. You'll get an email right when you start the application saying, thanks for starting the application, and it'll send you a link to a place where you can continue it. So you can share that link with your contact at the developer firm. And just, this is kind of just a heads up, if you haven't created an account, it'll prompt you to log in with the phone number that you entered when you first started the application, so that's kind of like your password. Just FYI. So I think that's all of the questions. Let's see. I have one question. Casey, I'll take your question offline. I'll follow up with you after the presentation. So I think I'm ready to hand it over to Megan Daw, who is a new addition to our program, and she has worked a lot on codes and standards work, and we're bringing her in to coordinate the HERS upload process, and then she's also going to be doing plan review. So if you're doing plan review, you can expect to chat with her every once in a while. I'll let you take it, Megan.
Thanks, Shannon. Hi, everyone. Again, this is Megan Doss. So we'll be going over a little bit of the plan review process and the HERS coordination process. So the plan review process, like Shannon described, starts after the application comes in and we receive your energy models and your site plans. And then the energy measure summary sheets, we'll go over that. That's part of the HERS process, mostly for the HERS rater, but also good for anyone building or consulting on these projects to take a look at. And then lastly, the uploading to the registry for HERS raters. So to begin the plan review, we look at the models that come in and make sure they match up with the plans. We try to get through the plans in about a week or two and produce any comments back to the project team. After the plan review, your project team will get a form that looks something a little bit like this on the screen. These are usually if there are any discrepancies we see between the model and the site plans, or anything that we don't see modeled correctly. So we'll leave a little description of the problem and suggest any actions, and then we ask that either the energy analyst or the builder reviews this comment form and responds and makes all of the correct adjustments to the plans and return those to us within 10 days. And usually, the problems are pretty simple and they're able to be resolved. And of course, we are always available to help and explain any of the corrections that might be a little bit more expensive. And also a good note is we also like to see any equipment specifications. If you're installing a certain air conditioning system, providing the certified EAR and SEER values, NFRC values for any fenestration, any kind of those documents are very helpful. And lastly, this column, the plan sheet name, usually refers to the actual architectural plans if we're seeing discrepancies between the models and those plans. Sometimes you'll see a not applicable if it is just something that has to do with the model. And again, always feel free to reach out if something isn't clear on the plan review comment form. And then after the plan review is complete, we develop what we call an energy measure summary sheet. This details all of the energy features that are present in the enrolled models and site plans. And this is just good measure to remind the HERS raters or anyone who's out on the building site what was installed in the actual, or what was noted in the actual enrolled files. And these features may change over time as construction progresses. What the measure summary sheet is really meant for is the HERS rater, as they go on site and are verifying both the HERS measures and the additional energy features. They make note of anything that's changed since our initial plan review. And this is what we use to ultimately decide or determine what the incentive will be based off of the measures that are present in the building. And if you have participated in the program before, you'll notice that this sheet looks a little bit different than the one we previously used. We're starting to implement these sort of green and red highlighting, and this in no way reflects whether the building is or unit is eligible or not. It's just to sort of highlight which features are going beyond the prescriptive code and which are not quite meeting it. And that is based on the prescriptive package for each climate zone. And we ask that the HERS rater, once HERS verification process begins and the construction is completed, they have 2 months from the point of occupancy of the building to return this summary sheet as well as complete any registry uploading process. which we'll get to in a second. And our team usually sends out this measure summary sheet to the HERS rater about a month before we see the estimated construction completion, just to give adequate time for them to bring this sheet with them on all of their site visits. And lastly, we have our HERS registry upload process. And we have a few changes that we'll get to, but just as a general overview, we require for CMFNH that low-rise projects, all low-rise projects must register with CalCerts or another HERS registry, and high-rise projects which are taking HERS measures. And we'll get to that in a little bit. We have some new policy updates on high-rise projects. To get to sort of what happens, how does the HERS registry process work? Generally, when a project is initiated, the energy consultant may start a project on the registry. They'll upload the enrolled models, the plans that they send to the project, and sort of provide any other general information such as the builder contact information, the site location, site contacts, that kind of information. For the CMFNH process, we then ask after that energy measure summary sheet is returned to us, we work with the energy consultant to produce new as-built models, and we, CMFNH, will upload these models to the registry. We then ask that the HERS raters go in and certify any of the CF4Rs and the additional energy features report. Something to note here that is a little bit different from normal compliance is we ask that HERS raters hold off on uploading any of their CF4R compliance documents until after the CMFNH team has uploaded the as-built site plans, models, to the registry. We ask that because once the CF4R results start populating on the registry for your project, and we were to upload a new project, it would basically void all of those results, and the HERS rater will have to go through the process again. So that's better measure to wait until we have confirmed with the HERS rater that the as-built files are uploaded, and they can go ahead and certify CF4Rs.
I would like to chime in with just a quick thing. So about the deadline, for the 2-month deadline for completing the registry uploads. So if you know what your what the as-built conditions of the different systems are going to be before occupancy is achieved, that's fine if you want to submit the measure summary, and in fact encouraged. So if you do want to allow your contractors to get the 6Rs up before occupancy, as I'm sure is preferable, then definitely get in touch with us before before the project is at occupancy. That's all. Sorry, Megan.
And I know we keep alluding to the as-built conditions, and you see on this form the far left or the far right column has the as-built. And what we ask if you have never done this before is we have produced the enrolled features, and then we ask you either print out and make markups and scan back to us, or just apply the changes on a PDF and send back to us. And you just can identify anything that's changed. If nothing's changed, then that's fine. You don't have to make any edits. Okay, without further ado, our new Highrise HERS policy. So in previous program years, we asked that high-rise projects upload to the registry. And we asked that they had uploaded to the residential side of the registry, which in itself just causes a lot of confusion, and we heard that feedback from a couple of HERS raters. So we have now changed the policy that high-rise projects that are not taking HERS measures at all do not have to upload to the registry. They simply will fill out the energy measure summary sheet with any changes identified, and then sign and date the form. And there is this new sort of ending to the form that is changed and says by signing this form, you as the HERS rater are certifying that all of the conditions and the energy features are correct. If a high-rise project is taking HERS measures, we will now have those projects upload to the non-residential registry, as they would do for Title 24 compliance, and certify any MEC 4s, which are similar to the CF4Rs, and also sign off on the energy measure summary sheet. We're hoping this reduces a lot of time spent on the upload process for high-rise buildings, and we're hoping that buildings who are already doing this for the Title 24 compliance can just piggyback back onto that process, and we can also certify that HERS measures were verified. And I think that ends the plan review and HERS process description, so I'll open it up for any questions.
Thanks, Megan. I had a thought just to clarify a little bit. Who are the people that you're working with at all these stages? So a lot of you have worked with me before, Shannon. Previously, Keith Sage was the HERS coordinator. So Megan has been doing all of this HERS work for several months now. But so after your project enrolls, you might have been working with one of our outreach coordinators previously. Our colleague Carol is coordinating all of the post-enrollment work, so checking in with projects as they're enrolled, letting them know, first of all, that PG&E approved the incentive reservation for the project and what the incentive is. So you'll find that out within a couple months of completing plan review successfully. So you can expect to hear from Carol. And then as the project is getting closer to construction completion, Carol and Megan will be following up. There's a few documents that you have to submit as a developer to complete participation. So that's a PG&E proof of service. So actually a statement that shows what the service ID number is for gas and electric service, that there actually are accounts set up for the project, and the other piece is just a completion survey. So I might actually add a slide to that effect in this presentation when we send it out. Those are our expectations for the developer or whoever's coordinating on behalf of the developer at time of construction completion. And then, so Megan will be working with the rater to collect all of the to finalize the registry and collect the energy measure summary, and Carol will be working with the project to, once PG&E approves the incentive, she'll be issuing those. So she'll let you know, PG&E approved your incentive, we'll be sending it in the next couple of weeks. So we're trying to have pretty straightforward role, so you know who you need to talk to about specific things. Okay. So questions about HERS. So we have a few questions, Megan, about the 2013 code versus the 2008 code, how the registry process might be a little bit different. It seems like most of the questions are about clarifying that the names for the specific forms are a little bit different. So CF4Rs in 2008 code versus CF3Rs and CF2Rs in the 2013 code. I think the gist is whatever form your code requires you to submit for HERS tests or the additional energy features report, we request that you complete all of those within 2 months of occupancy.
Yeah, that's a great comment, Shannon. I would like to elaborate a little bit. So the CF4R, if people are you would be more familiar with that from the 2013 code. I'm sorry, for the 2008. For 2013, they have now changed to CF1R is the same. CF2R are for the installers. Those were formerly the CF6R. And then the CF3R are the HERS verification forms. So we can make sure that this is clarified and any follow-up for this presentation.
Great. I don't see any other questions, so I'll give folks a few more seconds to enter them because we have about 15 minutes left, so plenty of time to review questions, and we can also address your comments via email after the presentation if you have a really specific question. So I'll wait and see. Okay, so I guess as the main kind of outreach person for California Multifamily New Homes Program, I invite you to submit an interest form if you have a project that you think would be a good fit for the program, or if you just want to learn more, you can email me. But I'll share the link to the interest form, and that'll get the ball rolling. We'll follow up with you and talk about your project, and then we'll give you the go-ahead to start an application. We want to sort of pre-approve projects before we say, go ahead, submit everything, and you spend all this time submitting, gathering documents, and then not maybe turning out that it's not a great fit for the program. So we'd like to pre-qualify before. Okay, I'm seeing a few more questions. Yeah, so we'd like to pre-qualify projects before we enroll them, or before we put them into plan review, rather. So I have a question about the Energy Pro versions. This might turn out to be a little bit technical. So just that there's been a lot of, I don't know if Megan, you want to take this now, or if you think it'd be better to hold off. So I'll let you decide. So the question is, the non-res or the high-rise version of Energy Pro seems to be in flux. How do we plan to handle this? I don't know if you've been, so Kevin Robinson is our plan review manager, and he's not online with us right now. Do you have a response to that, Megan?
I have a sense that this question is coming from how the new version of the software is not modeling multifamily correctly in the non-residential side, but I think I would have to defer to Kevin. Okay. On that, so we can follow up with the question. Sure. Okay. I have a question about where can one find examples of successful projects? So the first place I'd recommend that you look if you want to see a few case studies is in our newsletters. So if you go to www.cmfnh.com, on the resources tab, you'll see all of our previous newsletters, and each month we feature a project of the quarter. And that talks a little bit about who the project team was, what their Title 24 percentage was, and what measures they used to get there. I'm sure any member of the project team would be happy to elaborate on what they did, and we also plan on developing more in-depth case studies this year, which we'll post on our website, so we don't have those ready to go yet. Okay. Megan, would you mind going to the next slide, just so that our website is showing? Great. So this is our website and the project team, which we should add Scott, because he is a big component of the program. So Kevin Robinson is our main plan review guy, and Megan is also doing, Megan and Scott actually are both doing plan review. And Megan's also the HERS verification coordinator. I am the outreach coordinator, and then Carol is the participation coordinator, so that's kind of like post-enrollment. She's your main contact. So if I don't see any other questions, so I think I'll let you guys hop off early and enjoy the rest of your lunch. Like I said, we'll share this presentation, the link to our YouTube channel, and the PDF slide deck. I'll also share a link to the interest form. I guess any last comments from Scott or Megan?
No, just hope everyone has a good day, and thanks for organizing, Shannon.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. And we'll be talking with you about projects soon, I hope. Okay, have a great rest of your day.